silly, ridiculous, a waste of time. They didn't want that's why they were so successful. That's why they got away with it.
I've made a living in it very dangerous.
This is really an integrated blend together.
Dianne Andrews in black and white. Welcome to Dianne Andrews in black and white, and thanks for tuning in today in YouTube all over the country. We have a third show on this Summit for the Whistleblowers, July 30th, 2018. I was going to do 2 shows, but it's so powerful. These stories just break your heart. But there's some triumph out of tragedy in a lot of these stories you'll be hearing later on this show. So keep on watching and come on back to Dianne Andrews in black and white. And remember, you're never too young to start and never too old to finish. So continue your battle and continue to fight. Thanks very much. Come on back to Dianne Andrews in black and white. Thank you for coming back to Dianne Andrews in black and white. Today with me I have Matthew Fogg, who was retired from the U.S. Marshals as a Chief Deputy Marshal. He sued the U.S. Department of Justice and won back in 1998. We're going to have him briefly tell us his story. Today we have done several whistleblowers, people who won, people in the process, and people who were not recognized for what they went through. So here we wanted to end or have one person who's a positive story. But I always ask everyone, and I'll ask him before we end, would he do it again? So come on and tell us your story, Matthew. Tell us briefly.
Yes, and I would do it again, but the reality of it is that I became a U.S. Marshal in 1978. We swore to serve and protect this government of the United States. And that's what the whole mantra of our whole position is.
Tell me what a U.S. Marshal is.
What
do you really do?
Basically what you got is, we are like, I say people like a sheriff department on the federal side. And we have districts around the country. And over those districts, you have a United States Marshal that's over each one of those districts.
So every state is going to have some districts in that state with a marshal over them.
That's exactly right. And what happens is, in that district, that marshal is the head marshal. Then everybody that falls under that marshal would be like the chief deputy, the supervisory deputies. Everybody else would be career conditional employees.
In D.C.
D.C. Yes.
Okay.
Now, how I became that was by the court order. The court order took me to the chief deputy level. Part of my court order, when I ended up going to court in my case, it was because we had a racist manager, which we got a lot of those anyway, but we had a racist manager who was in a chief deputy position, and he was known to go out to African Americans, exclude African Americans. People were moving up, people had the ability to get up and get in the ranks and get hired and do the right things. And pretty much what he did, he targeted me, came after me. And most people, when this happens to you, they say don't take on the government, because once you take on that particular manager, you're really fighting the Department of Justice, the whole entire department. So what happened was, for me, it meant now I'm going to have to take on the Attorney General of the United States, because that's who the Justice Department, that's who heads it up.
When you looked at how big this was, did you really know how overwhelming it would be to your life?
No, I didn't. I didn't know. I thought that maybe because I had enough evidence and everything that they proved that this guy was wrong, that the Justice Department would somehow fixed it. They didn't, and then not only that, I began to see so many other employees were having the same problem that I was having, because then it came down to promotions, it came down to assignments, everything else that I saw. It was sort of systemic. It wasn't just about me. And I said, well, Matthew, maybe God put you in this position to be sort of like that foot soldier, that person who's going to make to lead the way.
But you all didn't band together to do one big class action.
Yes, we did. And today I'm the class agent representing over 500 black U.S. Marshals, Matthew Fogg versus Jeff Sessions. So once I won my case in '98, then it took 10 years of appeals, but we won it. But when I won
2008 you won.
2008, the final judgment.
Yeah.
I won the jury verdict in
And you
98.
won money. You don't have to tell us how much,
Right.
but you won money.
Well, the jury awarded me $4 million. I don't mind
Right,
saying
right,
that. I didn't
okay.
get $4 million,
Yeah.
but that's what the jury.
But you had been out of money for 10 years because you weren't
Right.
working, right?
Well,
or did you?
No, I was still drawing money. I was still drawing. That's it.
Did you go to work every day with the
No,
marshals
I was
after
on
the
workers'
suits?
compensation. I went out on. I was out.
What kind of comp? Did they get you for mental or what did they
Well,
get you for?
it was stress from the job.
Yeah, okay.
So
Labor you crazy.
no. It was stress from the job.
Okay.
And so what it was is like if you're in the kitchen and smoking the kitchen, you can't go in the kitchen and
Right,
smoke.
right.
So pretty much what the thing was saying was that because of discrimination that was proven in retaliation, because they proved, they said it did exist and that this man discriminated against me, but he quickly ran and retired before they could
Oh, he's an
discipline.
older guy already who just
Right.
said,
So
I'm getting out of here.
exactly. So he
Okay,
retired.
uh-huh.
So what happened was the workers' comp payments were deducted, and then they paid me as though I was never ever off the job.
Okay.
And so the tenure went.
And you didn't get any stress? You didn't get anything for stress
Yeah, I got
damage?
story damages, all of that.
Yes,
So
yes.
with everything, it came to one.
Now, when you sued the, oh, so it came up to what? So the
Well-
case was $4 million, but then after they deducted everything
After
out, it was
deducted,
$1 million.
right.
And you said you would do it again because
Oh, yeah.
now you're doing, what did you tell me you're doing now?
So
The
what
class
I'm
action
doing,
suit.
yeah, right now I'm a class agent representing over 500 black U.S. Marshals.
How many U.S. Marshals are there in the country now? About, do you think?
Well, you know, it's a good question. I want to say probably around, I think you got, I want to say
3,000.
So
So,
I may be off.
okay, let's
Yeah,
say
that's a
whatever.
good point.
But yeah, but
And
if
it
500 are black that are suing the government now for class action, that's a lot.
Yeah, you know, it is a lot, but actually it's more than that. It's more than that. Because we make it probably about, let's say, about 11%.
The black federal
Yeah.
marshals,
Yeah.
11%. So if it was 10% of 3,000, that would only be like 300. So maybe if you're larger than 3,000, we'll look it up. We'll look it
Yeah,
up, and
look it up, yeah,
I'll tell my audience. We'll get
Yeah,
it.
I don't want to be looking at
Yeah.
this sound like, oh,
Right,
I should have known.
Well, that's a question that
Right.
you're not that into that, but you know you have 500 that you're
Yeah.
representing.
Yeah.
Which is a large number.
Yes,
But you probably don't have over 6,700.
And these are all on deputy marshals. See, these are security, these are some of our what security people. So people that are not 1811 deputy United States Marshal, like I am, but fall under the Marshal Services.
Okay, then that number's probably a lot bigger than 3,000,
Right.
that's why. Yeah, when you add all of them to
Yeah,
the
when you add
federal
it, right,
program. Yeah,
exactly.
To all the federal.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm the class agent representing them because my case said, the final judgment said, not only did this affect Mr. Paul, but we find that the same behavior is systemic to all of the black deputy U.S. Marshals.
Even though your guy, who you direct, he retired and he got
Yeah.
out of it, but they found you in other areas
Because
too.
what happened, even
Of other
though he
chief deputies.
started it,
Yeah.
but what happens, just like anything else, when you go against the institution, then all kinds of other things happen to me that I ended up
And I'm
filing retaliation claims, which now became systemic other than outside of him.
And people knew you were doing this, so they came to you with their problems
That's
too,
right.
with the marshals.
That's exactly right. And then what happened, I was also, I started later representing people, because I used to be an EO investigative counselor, so I understood the system. And
Also with the
union
marshals,
rep-
also with the federal marshals.
With the federal marshals.
Let me ask you, so you think it's systemic around the country,
Yes.
the marshals?
Yes, that's why, that's what class actions, class actions is for everybody in the whole United States.
So it's no better in 2018 than it was in 1998 when you
No,
filed your own
absolutely,
thing?
no.
It's no better?
No, it's no.
Under any president, it doesn't matter?
Let me just say this. There were some promotions made. But a lot of those blacks are now, like myself, they're retiring and moving out and they're replacing them still with white employees. And so the disparate impact is still the same, going back to the same way it was.
So it doesn't matter which president it is, it's the people, the chief deputies who are
That's exactly right.
running
It's
those
whoever,
districts.
it's the career condition employees, those that are career conditioned. The U.S. Marshals are appointed by the President of the United States, each one of those districts. So we've got 96 districts around the country, and the President appoints the head marshal.
Right. But I'm saying you've had Republican, Democrat,
That's right.
1998, we're talking 20 years, and
Yes.
you still are getting some of the same kinds of people you
Yes.
had in 1970s.
Right,
What you're telling me,
the
right?
remnants remain.
That's right, the
It
same.
remains, and that's what the class is stating right now. We're in discovery.
Yeah.
But the class is saying pretty much that promotions have affected African Americans.
Are there other minorities in this with you, or just
Yes.
blacks? You're Hispanics, any minorities?
this
There
is
women?
just-
Are any
no,
women?
no.
This is just blacks.
Well, they're women, but they're
Black women.
right. There you go. African American.
Well, tell me, what would you say to a guy or a lady out there who said, I want to be a federal marshal?
Well, I would want you to become a federal
Yeah.
marshal. I want you to be interested, but I want you to be one that would stand up to the truth, no matter what it is. And if you saw something of impropriety, especially in this line, this is a justice integrity field. This is a field where, you know, your word can put somebody in jail or get somebody injured or shot or killed or whatever in this line of work. So you have to have the highest integrity.
Yeah.
And what I would say is come in, but don't be afraid of systems. If the system is wrong or somebody's in the system doing something wrong, then you let them know that I'm going to blow the whistle. I'm going to speak out. I'm going to make sure you're doing it right because you can affect a lot of people.
And I thank you for that, Matthew. And I would tell you that Matthew is also a correspondent on NBC
Right.
and
Yes,
MSNBC.
commentary, right.
Commentary on there.
For CNN, MSNBC, RTV, Press TV.
Well, we're happy to have you on Dianne Andrews in Black and White. Thanks for being on here, Matthew.
All right, thank you. All right.
With me now is the attorney, Tony Norman, and he is here to talk about what he did before and what he's doing now as it relates to the Whistleblower Summit we're at today. Because as I understand, there are 200 radio stations around this nation.
There's I'm the former chair of the Pacifica National
Former chair,
Board,
okay.
and we have 200 affiliates and 5 major stations.
Now, when you say affiliates, is that a radio station or what is it?
Those are stations that carry out programs
Okay.
Across the nation. We
Including
have-
Democracy Now! is what
Yes.
it is.
Yes, we have 5 basic sister stations, one in LA, one in Berkeley, one in New York, one here in Washington DC, and in Houston.
Okay.
And the 200 affiliates carry out programs. And
You've been gone about 2 years from there? or
About a
how long?
year,
About a year.
year or so.
Now, I know Marcel Reed, who was on the board of Pacifica Radio Foundation, I think.
that's right.
Now, you all were one of the first people to start talking about whistleblowers. What year was that, Tony? How long were you on the board?
I've been on the board for at least about affiliated about 5 or 6 years. And we first started covering it when they first started this conference. I think that this conference
This
has
is
been
his 7th year.
7 years. So we first started covering whistleblowers and the conference at least 7 years ago.
Tell me why. What did you see the need was, and why did you all
Well,
decide to cover?
Pacifica goes back to the if you want to really say it, we were really the first whistleblower. Pacifica started in the 1940s and 50s.
Here in DC?
Actually in California. Out of the war movement, the resistance to the war movement in the 30s and the Korean War. And we were started in the 50s, and most of the opposition and the progressive voices that spoke out, that's why this radio station was formed in the 50s. So we were really the first national forum for really whistleblowers to go to before any of the national media started
Covering whistleblowers,
coverage.
like Senator Grass.
So, and we did it through the 60s. We did all of the major civil rights people, Dr. King, all of those who
That was
couldn't
one
get
of
a
the biggest
voice.
whistleblowers was the
Yeah,
civil
and
rights
all of those
movement.
who couldn't get a voice in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
We did interviews with them in Berkeley, here in New York.
Now, I know you're from Louisiana, and I was talking about where I lived.
Yeah, I grew up in Louisiana, from
Yeah.
Baton Rouge, New Orleans.
Yeah.
But our
were you out in
station,
California? Were you in Berkeley?
our station was in Berkeley, but we covered all of the major civil rights leaders and did all of the original interviews.
How important do you think it is, Attorney Norman?
Oh, it's very important because the people who are complaining now and who are the whistleblowers are going to people who set the trend and to change the direction of this country. Because if you go back in the 50s and 60s, those people would have been whistleblowers that the mainstream wasn't listening to.
Right.
Those people who led the civil rights movement, who led the major cases, those who were complaining about the FBI and their overreach, nobody paid attention to them.
I tell you, I've interviewed about 5 whistleblowers today, and the stories are just phenomenal. Their life-changing impact. The one thing I would say to a whistleblower, and I've done shows on it, I've done veteran shows on whistleblowing, I've done Ku Klux Klan shows on whistleblowing, and all kinds of shows on whistleblowing. homeless, hungry from military standpoints, but you have to be prepared to change your life.
That's right. And the biggest negative with whistleblowers today is that a lot of people try to put them in being conspiracy theories.
Right.
And try to lump them into that.
Right.
But there should be some form on the state level and national level. If there's credible facts to support their claims,
Right.
they need to be reviewed and investigated.
But who's determining what's credible? Because I've talked to some whistleblowers, and the people who are supposed to be looking at their case become a part of the problem of the case. If they still work at, say, a government agency,
That's right.
like with the tobacco case, with the whistleblower there, they do anything they can to shut you down.
That's right.
It's a tough situation.
That's why we have to set up, depending on what the issue is, whether it's related to the federal government or the state government or large corporation, you have to set up the proper commission or the proper review to review those cases.
Now today, as you might know, Senator Grassley or the Senate made this a National Appreciation Day for whistleblowers, July 30, 2018, which was good to see.
Yeah, that's good that they have a symbolical push, but they need to get the legislation.
Let's get to the substance.
And
right.
the legislations and the regulations.
I think he
support
did
those.
say one thing that just changed is you don't have to pay taxes on the law fees, the monies that you pay to the
Okay.
lawyers for the whistleblowers. Tell me one sentence that you would like to leave with some of the people in the viewing audience about whistleblowers, and we're going to probably have to cut it short.
The one sentence I would make is take them seriously, and there should be some mechanism to follow up and look at their claims. Because we can't just totally just support the judicial system. Sometimes the judicial system itself is corrupt.
Right.
And they dismiss these cases at the early level, and they really have no forum to present their case to whistleblowers.
Except to the Supreme Court. So it
And
takes
the
money to
Supreme
get
Court.
there, as you know, but you work with nonprofits. If
Yeah.
you're an attorney, it takes money to hire these people
So
to help
that's
you out.
why it's critically important that they get the forum to raise these issues, whether it's on social media or with our Pacifica stations, to hear these people who are raising these issues and complaining, whether it's in private government, the federal government, or private entities.
That can be one of your next ventures,
That's right.
Tony Norman.
That's
I
right.
appreciate you for being on Dianne Andrews in Black and
Definitely.
White.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Looking to do some more work with you. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you very much, Hibernia Wealth Management in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, for sponsoring this episode of Dianne Andrews in Black and White. I'm interviewing another whistleblower, Frank Vitro from New York State. His story is amazing, and some of these stories you will hear get more and more amazing, more astonishing as I interview more and more people at the Whistleblower Summit here in D.C. Frank, you are a high school principal. You are a chemistry major in college, correct?
Yes.
You came from a family that was not educated. You pulled yourself up by your bootstraps, and you became a principal in Suffolk County.
Right.
In Long Island.
Right.
Eastern.
Yeah, Suffolk
Eastern-
County, Long Island.
Suffolk County, Long Island. Tell us the story of your journey and what happened to you who ended up living in the car.
Right. So, like you said, Diane, my family came from Italy. For education and opportunity, they wanted their kids.
In the 50s.
Yeah,
Family
they
just came.
wanted their kids to have the opportunity, education they never had. So I went into education, became a biology and chemistry teacher. Worked hard. I never claimed to be the smartest guy in the room. Blue collar, work hard to get by. And,
But he gets 96 out of 100 on looking good, and he'll tell you that story.
Yeah, why that's relevant. So, became a principal. When I went to Hampton Bays, where I became principal, I was like 31, 32 when I got there. Made a quick rise, became principal there, and I was doing real good.
Had you already been working in that county as a biology and chemistry teacher?
In the county, but different school district.
Right, okay.
Different school district. Went to Hampton, became a principal, and my family was so proud. Not only was I an educator, I was a leader in education. I was young, I was doing good things, and I had a long way to go. A lot of head.
31 is pretty young.
Yeah, the future was, was real good.
Yeah.
Then I saw a couple of things, and to sum it all up, abuses to children, and
By the teachers.
by a school teacher, and when you require, to see something, say something.
You mean sexual abuse? Are we talking sexual? Or what kind of abuse?
Well, I didn't know it was sexual. I just inquired. I saw a student at a teacher's house. I didn't like the
At the
interaction.
house?
At the house.
And how old was the student?
16 years old at the time.
And the teacher was single?
Single teacher, Saturday morning.
Saturday
Thursday,
morning.
And I inquired. It wound up being much worse than I even ever thought.
And how old was this guy? 40, 50?
It was a woman.
Oh, the The student was a boy.
Student was a girl.
Oh, it was a girl.
Yeah, and turned out to be not the first time. And the school district knew about it. Now the teacher was up to no good again. And it turns out, and I found this out years later after the fact, that drinking alcohol with her, taking her out of school, in the bedroom.
So sexual
Yeah.
lesbian relationship.
Yeah. There were references on social media actually, lesbian love. That's their words, not
On
mine.
her sexual,
on
the teachers.
on the kids, on the students. Yeah, reference to
What
that.
year was this, Frank?
This was this was happening in like 2005, 2006.
Before social media was so spread out, was so widespread as it is today.
Exactly. So I inquired, and everything I was trying to just let people in on it.
You just happened to go by the teacher's house. She didn't know you were
Yeah,
coming.
she actually did know I was coming. That was the weird thing about it all. So when I inquired, and I called the school, I tried to report, not even, hey, they're doing this. I just, mandated reporter, you might want to look into this. And it was a different
I
school,
mean, let me ask you, you can usually feel when something is going on. When you walked in that house, could you feel?
It was weird.
Yeah.
It was weird. And when they claimed it was community service, that threw me for a loop because I know I signed off as a principal on community service.
Right.
And community service is never, it's community service.
Right.
Clean up the park or
Not my house
whatever.
service.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
go to my house and help my teacher with her personal business.
Yeah.
So that really raised red flags. And the more
This girl, did you look at her grades? Was she a straight A student in her class?
in her class, of course. She got a gift. She's the dog room also the teacher. The teacher gave her a dog as a gift. Classic, like, it's called grooming.
Yeah.
She groomed the students.
Was this a poor girl?
Separated parents, easy to prey upon.
Right. Yeah.
Separated
I've done some
parents,
shows on
yeah,
sexual
broken home.
trafficking, and I
Yes.
relate to
Yes.
some of that.
Classic, it's a good point. Classic example of a person.
Yeah.
She tried to help
Vulnerable.
students.
She went to someone
Very
who's
vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. And she needed a mother figure.
Right.
She fell right in.
Right.
So she geared that student to hate me. That student, because I inquired, she used that student, groomed her to hate me even though I didn't know her. And that student went around to get everybody, and the next thing you know, everything I've tried to report came back to get me, next thing you know, out of it.
Or trying to have sexual relations with this student.
They claimed, they didn't name the student, but it said in the news that I was a predator, preying upon former students, a terrorist on the news.
What did you supposedly to have done to be a terrorist? You don't know.
Nothing to be a terrorist.
I mean, what did they say? What was
They said that the charge was nothing more than I called up and I threatened her over the phone.
the teacher or the student?
Teacher. And then I called and harassed sexual things to the student.
She's going to say whatever the teacher.
She didn't even know me. Yeah, and this all came out, depositions
Yeah.
and everything like that.
Was she a senior, junior, something?
When I was in the house, she was a junior. When I saw her in the house. And it turns out, like I said, much worse than I ever imagined. People came forward, and then people came forward that she had a history.
The teacher had a history
and
of the female, only female
Yeah,
students.
female, and had another guy arrested before me.
Another teacher?
Yeah, the school district knew about it,
Yeah.
and even warned her. A disciplinary file, I got a hold of her disciplinary record, said, listen, don't do this again. Don't befriend students. She should have been fired back in
Right,
2001.
right.
They let her. Not only did they know about it and keep her as a teacher, they knowingly allowed this student, another, to go to her house. Never went, never checked up on her, never did anything, and she did it again. She was taking showers at her house, in the bedroom, again, drinking, going to clubs with her, bars, and she did it again. The school allowed it.
But how did they know? How did they know she was doing it? It was kind of undercover, right?
They didn't know what she was doing, but they knew.
But you reported it,
But
didn't you?
knowing,
Then they knew.
right, but knowing this
Yeah.
teacher had a history of doing this with
Right,
students, they
right.
let a student go unsupervised over there again. But they knew.
No, my point, Frank, is you said they let the girl go again, the young girl, but they didn't know she was wanting to.
No, they knew.
Oh, they did.
They knew about it, and they played it off as community service. That wasn't community service.
Right, because you sign off on
Yeah.
every
Well, what was
community
happening was
service.
she was also having sex with the principal, 20 years older.
Was the principal female?
No.
So the young girl was having sex with the teacher
the
and another
No,
principal
the teacher was having sex with the principal.
before you.
So he couldn't investigate her.
The principal before you.
Her principal, I wasn't in that
Oh,
school.
okay.
Her principal at the time, so they couldn't investigate her. It was necessary to cause sexual harassment.
Right.
The student wound up, ready for this
She
twist?
was obviously bisexual.
Yes.
She was going men and
Yeah, so now, because they get married, this is like Jerry
Gets
Springer.
married.
She marries the principal. I'll give you one guess who the maid of honor was.
the girl.
The student.
Yeah, the girl student. Yeah.
The student.
Yeah.
Who was a student when the
What is this? A menage a trois triangle going on here?
It's unbelievable. And I took the fall. I'm in jail for something.
You went to jail?
I went to Riverhead Jail.
So when you went to court, you got indicted, so you had a trial.
So I go to the 3-year prosecution, 3-year investigation by the state ed department, which fully cleared me. I
How'd you go to jail?
I went to jail till I had to make bail. I went for
okay.
a few days.
Okay.
And I didn't spend an extended period
Yeah.
of time. But I had the jumpsuit on. I was a terrorist. And she did. They put it on me. Years later, I got why. Here's why. And this was found out because I started civil suits and all these things. So I thought on my own. I had to become my own attorney.
Right. You were living in
So
the car?
I wound up living in my car.
Because they fired you as a principal, correct?
Right. And that was for a whole nother reason now, too.
Another reason.
Yeah, because I was a whistleblower against my former school district, also where I was a principal. So, yeah, it's twisted. So what happens is because when I got arrested, my school district was behind me. Okay? But what happened was they had an agreement to bring me back to work with the state. Well, the state didn't. I didn't go back to work with the IBAW. That's one of the reasons why. And I don't say anything I can't prove. Forensic proof.
Now you do a radio station
Yeah.
along with Kathy.
Yeah, yeah.
Whistleblowers.
Wrote a book about it, standing on principle.
Yeah.
Um,
We're going to get your book just for give you a little tidbit on where to get your book.
all right, well, it's on Amazon. It's in local bookstores along Island.
Standing on Principle.
Principle,
is the name.
PAL. If you go to my website, framevetro.com, it's probably the easiest
Yeah.
way, VNTRO.
That's a nice double entendre. Principle.
Yeah. So I was subpoenaed to be a witness against my school, not against my school district, at a hearing. It was a discrimination hearing. A teacher against my school district. I got subpoenaed.
To say that your school was discriminating against?
I don't even know what that was going to be asked. I just showed up. My superintendent called me, emailed me, texted me, don't show up.
The superintendent of where you were principal?
Yes.
Okay.
I said, what do you mean don't show up? Just a subpoena. I don't even know, right or wrong.
How do you not show up for a subpoena unless
Yeah.
you're, what's that lady name with the Trump case that didn't
Right.
show up on time?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, her attorney, the school's attorney, don't show up. The Board of Ed, don't show up. Don't align yourself. What do you mean align myself? And this is why we're still going to...
It's like us against them or them against them. It's very black or white, no gray matter in this.
So I do appear. And once I did that, and they retaliated against me, and even though I was cleared by the State Department, they didn't like that I showed up at the hearing, and they took my career away. Another thing I uncovered, they arrested me to say this same teacher knew the police officer. They had a
Is she
relationship.
married now? Has she got married at this time?
Yes, yeah. But we knew her, and they knew she was.
Superintendent.
They knew that the teacher with the student who had me arrested. They knew that the teacher was the real girl. But
No, but once you're doing statutory rape against this girl, right? Because she was.
they didn't even want to investigate it. So so to protect her, they took me down.
Yeah.
This all came out in the civil case. They never even denied it.
Did she have ties
now-
to influential people?
Yeah,
The teacher,
police
obviously.
officer, superintendent, yeah.
Well, we're gonna keep on following this, and thanks
Absolutely.
for being on Dianne.
I appreciate it,
Anderson, Black
Dianne.
and White.
Thank you
Nice
so
to have
much.
Thank you.
That's why they were so successful. That's why they got away.